Dear student, today we are going to study the resonance in mechanical system. The test setup was developed by me and the test was conducted by me along with my technical assistant, Shri Sushil Soren. Now, let's try to understand the aim of the test. First is to understand the concept of resonance in mechanical system. Second, to determine the resonant frequency of a machine. Now, you know that in a mechanical system, resonance occurs when the frequency at which force is periodically applied isn't equal to 1 of the natural frequency of the system. Usually it is a fundamental natural frequency, means first natural frequency at which the system vibrate loudly. Now, this causes the system to oscillate with larger amplitude when the force is applied at natural frequency. You know that. Now, frequency at which resonance amplitude is frequencies at which the response amplitude is a relative maximum are also known as the resonant frequencies of the system. Now, near resonant frequencies, small periodic forces have the ability to produce the larger amplitude of oscillations due to the storage of vibrational energy, and that's why system vibrates continuously, because absorbed system could not able to absorb all the energy. Now this is the graphical abstract of my test setup. This one is your feeder, top, springs. There is a vibrating motor behind under this top. Then this is support structure. This is grouted on the foundation. Now if we equate with the mechanical system, you can consider it as a single degree of freedom system, where the stiffness of the spring capital K is equal to 4K, because there are 4 springs are there on which this drop is installed. Now considering the C as a damping, and this is my support structure. Now you know that transmissibility is a ratio of output to input, isn't it? Output force upon input force. So whatever force which is given by the system, for example here in motor will generate some force, and what is the output we are receiving at the resonance is known as the transmissibility. Usually transmissibility, if you see the figure, it will always be higher than 1 in case of resonance or nearby resonance frequency. So you can see maximum amplitude will be higher, our transmissibility will be higher at the resonant condition. This is my resonant condition where operating frequency becomes equal to the natural frequencies. Now it is a amplification, you can call amplification of amplitude. When forcing frequency means operating frequency and the natural frequency of the system coincides. There is no unit designation for the transmissibility, although it may sometimes be referred as Q factor. Okay, so now in ordinary conditions, if damping increases, my transmissibility will be reduces, isn't it? Let's say though there is no such practical material which has a zero damping, but there are material, for example, metals have low value of damping, whereas in case of rubber and some other non-metals have a higher values of this damping value. So accordingly, the amplitude of variation occurs at the resonant frequencies. Now the specification of the vibrative feeder are given below. The dimension of the trough is 610 mm and the length is 915 mm. Wire diameter of the spring is 7.6 mm. Mean coil diameter is 46.13 mm. Number of coils in the spring are 13. Modulus of rigidity as per ASTM we have taken 70.3 10 to the 9 Newton per meter square. Density 7920 kg per meter cube. gross weight of the system. Here I have taken the weight of the motor plus weight of the top. So it's a 59 kg approximately, or 590 Newton. Stiffness of a spring, particular one spring. So it's a 19,130 Newton per meter. So there are four springs we have. So combined stiffness of the system will become 76520 Newton per meter. Operating speed of the maximum operating speed of the motor is 1400 rpm. Eccentric weight on the shaft of a motor is 3.5 kg. On both the side of a motor there are some eccentric masses are purposefully installed so that we can produce unbalanced forces. Now eccentricity of the weight is from the shaft center is 60 mm we have taken. Now if we calculate the maximum frequency ratio, means here this one first, let's say this is my highest operating speed of a motor. So when we divide it here rpm, this is rpm, so when we divide by 60 we'll get 23.33 hertz. This is my maximum operating speed. Now the maximum frequency ratio we will get 4.1. The maximum excitation force in induced in the system, this is the maximum force I can induce in my system during starting and shutdown of the vibratory feeder, a transient condition in which omega by O by omega n will be equal to 1, and it induces the resonance in the vibratory feeder for a minute or even less than second. Usually it occurs in all the system, whether it's a tractor, whether it's a car. So the higher the speed, the transient phase will be of smaller time. So here usually it is less than 1 second. When instantaneous speed of the feeder, when we converted this operating speed hertz into omega, so it comes into the around 35.71 radian per second. So the corresponding values of the force we have taken consider is maximum operating force was 7.79 Newton, whereas to measure the amplitude at the resonance, when we calculated this one, we got 34.90 mm. This is the theoretical value. Okay. Now, if we calculate the theoretically, then if we this is my theoretical natural frequency. So this is my theoretical natural frequency operating ratio. During resonance, you know that it is 1. Now, excitation force we have calculated theoretically, it is 267.79 Newton. Now, vibration amplitude we have obtained 34.90 Newton. Now, force transmitted to the support structure, but if you calculate by force transmitted by using this equation, you will get 2808.6. Now you can see the transmitted force. So we know that transmissibility is the ratio of output upon input. So input force is, but the output force is this one. So when you calculate the ratio or Q factor, you will get around 10.49. So this is a huge amount of force transmitted to the structure, and it creates lot of resonance. Because of resonance, the most of the force goes to the foundation, it also damages the foundation and nearby equipments if we don't take care of it. Okay. Now let's try to understand the setup first. You can see the resonance here. Now this is how we have taken the readings. Around 24 reading we have taken. Now let's see how to actually post-process those data and to generate a graph for the resonance. For this, what we have done is we have connected our analyzer, handheld analyzer, to our system software, and then I have already saved those data here, and then I kept in archive. So these are all data I have taken. Now when I open this one, you can see here. So when I open this one, I can take any one data. So I'll just take this graph, and then I can see like this data. Now if I want my displacement, then I can do like this. Now if I want my instead of RMS, I want let's say peak value. So I'll do that, and then zoom in X, because my operating speed is very small, around 5 within 0 to 24 hertz, maximum 24 hertz. So there is no point of looking higher frequency. So I'll just, what I'll do, I'll shift this cursor, because otherwise this reading will not be observed here. Okay. Cursor has to be shifted. Now when I do, only 50 hertz zoom will be there. You can see here it is shown. You can see here. So this peak corresponding to 160 hertz I can take, because further if I zoom it, it will show you the exact reading. This is how the maximum operating speed at which it will show the maximum amplitude. This is not resonance. As the speed increases, vibration increases, but during resonance, the maximum amplitude you will able to see that. Now for that, to understand, here you can see the changes. It's a 4.375 hertz. So this is one reading, I can note down it, and the corresponding amplitude I can note down. Here it is in decibel given with respect to 1 picometer. So usually it is a 1 micrometer. So if I take this one, then probably this will be 1 picometer is given. They have taken. So let's do this. Let it be. Now second graph, if I open, I'll again see that one FFT, and again if I want to see only the peaks, then I want displacement peak. Now I want to unzoom it. I want to see the maximum peak, this one. So what I can do here, I can zoom X, frequency range I'm reducing. Okay. Now if you see here, this is my maximum. If you want to know exact value of it, you can see here 11.75 hertz. Amplitude is this one, 140, 2.2 decibel with respect to 1 picometer. Now again, third figure I'll see here. Same thing I'll do. Step. Now I want only FFT. Now again I am zooming it. Now I'll bring this cursor here, because I don't want to see the higher amplitude here. Let's say this one. Now I'll zoom it. You can see here. Still it is there. So what I'll do is I'll unzoom it, and then again I want only 5. Now you can see here, this is my maximum amplitude. Similarly, if I calculate, see this one, then this is a way of doing this. This is very important, because if you won't unzoom, frequency range you have to set up, so you will have to do this. So this one is being observed here. Okay, you can see here. Now what I can do, only I want to see the peak, so you can see here. You can see this is my this peaks, and if we go on selecting and identifying the maximum amplitude. Now this is one way. Second way, what you can do is you can take the data and open in a like this. You can save your data. I have done these three. So this is for the first data, second data, and if you want to draw the graph, you can get it, but resolution will be less in case of. Otherwise, you can import it in MATLAB and you can do it. So data will be good. Here, if you show, it will show, but the resolution will not be good, and that's why we always try to go for. This is how it will show the peak. You can see variation means here we are what we are doing is we are comparing the amplitude of vibration at different operating speed. So when resonance arises, maximum amplitude will occur. Okay, here I have all combined and I did it in this Emiscope software. I have taken those data, and when I plot this graph, so I'm just showing the graph how exactly it look like. I'll just show you. This is my published data. It is a journal paper which was based on this resonance study. So I'm just showing the graph, complete study of the resonance. Now if you see this one, I had taken 24 data here. So as the speed increases, my resonance, initially resonance was decreases. We have all seen in the first 3 degree reading also that resonance initially was higher, but gradually decreases, and again it goes on increases as the natural frequency and the operating frequency are comes to closer. So in that case, this is a transient phase. You can see these all are higher natural nearby natural frequency, and this is my the operating speed. I have got the maximum amplitudes, and this was the resonance. Now here resonance frequency is 5.35 hertz, and it's less than the original calculated frequency. This is because the our actual machine is having some damping properties, and that's why natural frequency is less. Similar thing, this is the graph where if you draw, you will able to see complete. This is another natural frequency probably, and that's why this higher peak was observed. Now similarly, if you instead of taking accelerometer, if you take a force transducer and place it in a support structure, and again if you calculate the force sensed by the structure, so you will again feel that at resonance frequency you will get the maximum force transmitted, okay, to the structure, and that's why this at resonance you are getting this amplitude. So this is how we have conducted. So what you can do is you need to draw the this resonance, you calculate the natural frequency, and then you can draw this figure, or like this you can have. Okay, so when I have converted the units in mm, so this is how I calculated these frequencies. Okay, so with this our practical is over. If you have any question, you can please ask me.